Now, I know what you're probably thinking. What you're thinking right now is, Ben, why am I looking at an old green Dodge that, well, frankly, has a fender that's not even painted, and another fender that's kind of barely hanging on there and is on some funny looking orange wheels? But bear with me, because this is currently no ordinary Challenger and going to be a very special Challenger. This is a 1970 Dodge Challenger in green go. In that is a forged internal 392 Gen 3 Hemi. Behind it is a TR6060 six-speed manual transmission. All of that is bolted to an Art Morrison Mopar K-member. Behind it is an Art Morrison back half with a triangulated four-link in a fabricated 9-inch. Inside is an 850 cert cage. While it is green go, it's going to be striker green metallic off of the 5th gen Viper. It's going to be on some 20-inch wheels on the back, some 19-inch wheels on the front, with a bunch of chrome trim and some anodized bronze accents. Oh, and did I mention it's gonna make 1,200 horsepower? And what that all means is this is gonna be a very special car, and I'm out of fingers, so I can't talk about anything else. So let's get into it. Now, before we go any further into this, I would like to address the front fenders. Now, a lovely customer of ours, Jason, brought us this car, and we did ask him to have the fenders just laying on there for travel purposes. So, Jason, please don't send me an angry text message. We told you to do that. But like I said, this is a very special Dodge Challenger. I am extremely excited for this build. It's gonna be something super special. It's gonna be something a bit different for us as well, as you probably noticed by the roll cage and the 1,200 horsepower. So this car was brought to us by a lovely man named Jason, as I just said, from up in the Dallas area. And this is a super cool car for us, and it's a super cool car for him because he's actually owned this car since he was 17 years old. And I don't know about y'all, but when I was 17, I did not have a 1970 Dodge Challenger. Real quick, we will address the elephant in the room. No, this is not a real TA car. It is a real green go car though. That's super cool. It's had several different engine combinations in it. I'll put up a picture here of what the car looked like back when Jason had it in his youth. It's going to be a very different animal now. And yeah, I guess we'll start at the front with the cool bit. So like I said, this is a 392 Gen 3 Hemi. It was pulled out of a Charger, Challenger, don't know, doesn't matter. It now has a Wiseco forged rotating assembly as far as rods and pistons go. It's got a Hellcat crank in it. It's got these super cool valve covers on it. I'm a big fan of these. Yes, the name of the car is the Kraken. Super cool. We're gonna try to refer to it by that as much as we can. But on top of this will be right here, as you'll see in this picture, is a Gen 5 3-liter Whipple supercharger, which should put this car to about 1,200 horsepower, or a little over 1,000 to the tires, which should be a monster of a car. We've never built an E-body with this much power before. We built the other green car, which you'll see a picture of here. That had a Hellcat in it and a T56 Magnum behind it. But this should be quite a different animal. Yes, we are building another green E-body with a Gen 3 Hemi, and we kind of have a thing for green cars here. However, we're not opposed. We think the car's gonna look fantastic. That striker green metallic that Jason picked out is gonna look on this car. So we're very excited for that. Now, something I did say in the intro, which is no longer going to be true, is that transmission. So that is a TR6060 six-speed manual, and that is a US Car Tools transmission tunnel. Now, Jason got the engine and transmission as a package deal, so he got them together. So that's what he started to put in the car. However, he's decided that he would rather have an 8-speed in the car. So we are going to switch to an 8HP 70 or an 8HP 90 out of a standard 392 Charger or a Hellcat. He's gonna have that built. We're talking to a couple different companies right now about that. We're super excited about that. We've got a couple 8-speed cars going on in the shop right now, including the Superbird, which we'll talk about later. But the 8 speeds are becoming super popular. I really like that people are wanting to put them in cars. It's a new challenge for us. We really enjoy that. We've done one 8-speed car before, at least we've messed with one before. It was fantastic. I really liked it. This is going to be super cool because we're also going to put paddle shifters in this car, which I'm super excited about. Paddle shifters in an old car just seems super fun and neat to me. So gone is the TR6060. In its place will be a built 8HP70 or 8HP90 out of a Charger or a Challenger. Let's talk about the suspension in this car. So in the front here, we have, like I talked about, this beautiful Art Morrison K-member. Looks absolutely fantastic. We've never messed with Art Morrison stuff before, but that's because we build Mopars, as you may have noticed by the abundance of Mopars. So since we build Mopars, Art Morrison is mainly Chevy and Ford stuff. They've just entered the Mopar market with this front K-member. From what we understand, this car is actually like the first or second car to have one of these K-members in it as far as an E-body is concerned. This K-member is technically designed for a B-body, and we're kind of testing it, doing some R&D for Art Morrison, so we're super excited to play with this. It looks like a beautiful piece. It looks fantastic. The craftsmanship on it is outstanding. It's beautiful. We are very excited to play with this. Super nice piece. Got Corvette hubs in there, if you can see that. C6 hubs in there. Beautiful upper and lower control arms. This gorgeous rack in there. So we are super excited to play with that. And it sits super, super low. This is roughly the ride height for this car. Roughly. Might go a bit lower, might go a bit taller. We'll see once we get wheels on it. But this looks fantastic. And I mean, that is real nice and low. So we are stoked to play with that front suspension kit. Moving on to the suspension, in the rear, another Art Morrison piece. However, this time it's a full back half with a 4-link in it. There's some stuff in the trunk, so kind of look around that. But what you're looking at here is this bar here in that big rear end down there. So as you can see, this is a gorgeous piece with a fabricated Ford 9-inch and a triangulated 4-link, which looks absolutely beautiful. We're super excited to play with that. I think it looks super cool. We love triangulated 4-links. We put them in just about everything. This whole back half design is a bit new for us. We don't normally do that. Looks super good. Geometry looks super nice. Should make the car sit super well, handle super well, be super planted. What Jason had talked about doing with this car is he wants street car, kind of a Sunday cruiser, but also wants to go and do drag and drive stuff, some sick week, some Rocky Mountain race week type stuff with this car. Think race car with leather and AC. It's kind of what we're going for on this one. And speaking of race car, this car does have an 850 cert cage in it. So this car, according to the NHRA, with these door bars, this hoop and the halo, as well as the dash bar and the bars that go into the engine bay, according to the NHRA, this car is certified to go 850s or slower in the quarter mile, which is super cool. We already talked with Jason. We're gonna change some stuff up. This cage has been in here for a few years. We're gonna go with a different door bar design that's a bit more street friendly. Kind of come out here, go down, follow, taper in there, so it's a bit easier to get into. These are removable. There we go. And then these swing out so you can get in and out. We're gonna get rid of that. We're just gonna put the drop down door bars in there so that it's nice and easy to get into. Let's talk paint and body on this car. So it is currently green, if you hadn't noticed, and it's going to stay that way, but not this green. It's going to end up striker green metallic, which is a gorgeous color. It's a much more vibrant green. It's not quite as bright as the valve covers, but it's close. It was on some 5th gen Dodge Vipers, which I'll put pictures of up here, which is super cool. We love green. We've built 4 or 5 green cars, and they've all been a different green, which we're big fans of. We try not to build cars that replicate each other. So this car is going to be striker green metallic. We're going to get rid of the TA stripe that runs down the side because this is not a real TA. That car can have one because that is a real TA, but this car cannot. We don't like to build, I don't want to say replicas of stuff, but most of these cars, as some of y'all may know, we don't like to cut up super nice cars. I'm not saying this isn't a super nice car, but what I mean by that is we don't like to cut up the rare cars. We don't want to cut up a real TA Challenger to build into this car, because once it's done, it doesn't matter if it started as a TA or a 318 automatic car. It makes no difference to the end product. So this is not a real TA car. So TA stripe is going away. We are going to have the Bumblebee tail stripe, which runs right there, which is super cool. We're thinking about doing that in an anodized bronze, which is super cool, kind of a medium bronze color, which we really like. Green and bronze is always a good combo. These door handles, those are gonna go away. We are going to run the Kindigit design door handles that we put in just about everything. There's some on the brown car in there. So these door handles right here is what we're gonna run. As you can see, flush mount, nice, squared off there. That's how those work. So that's what we're gonna run on Jason's car. I think it's gonna look super slick, super nice. Change it up a bit. It's one of those things, it's not super different, but it'll look super nice. So we're excited to do that. So shave the door handles. Mirrors, we're gonna stick with E-body mirrors. I think, as far as trim goes, we're thinking chrome trim around the windows. The rest of the trim goes body color, bumpers go body color. We're talking about putting the same splitter on the front of this that we put on the other green Challenger that we did, if you remember that car, the wide body car. Let's talk about some of the more nitty gritty stuff on this car, a bit more of the details. So like I said earlier, 3-liter Gen 5 Whipple supercharger, bumping this thing to about 1,200 horsepower. To cool that down, we're gonna have a big old aluminum Ron Davis radiator. Right here, we're gonna have our Mishimoto oil cooler that we always do in all of these cars, and then we're gonna have a big heat exchanger for the supercharger as well. We're gonna have a Hydratech Hydro Boost brake assist system in here to replace traditional vacuum booster. As you can see, might be a little tough to fit a vacuum booster in there with that bar. This car is gonna be on full Willwoods. Jason already has supplied us with some gorgeous black Willwood 6-piston front, 4-piston rear in this car. So beautiful master cylinder matching that. We've already got some long tube headers for this car. We'll build a full custom exhaust for it out the back. This car is gonna be running on a fast XFI 2.0 fuel injection system. We're super stoked to play with that. We've never messed with a fast system before. From what I've seen, looks like a good product, looks like a super nice product. So we're gonna try out that. That's what Jason wants to run. So that should be super fun to play with in this car. To run the 8 HP transmission, we're gonna work with our friends at Sound German Automotive up in Seattle, San Diego, something like that. Over there, that side of the country. Sound German Automotive, they make transmission controllers to run 8 speeds with standalone transmissions or normal Mopar crate harnesses. So that's what we're gonna run in this car, is a Sound German Automotive controller to talk with that fast EFI system so that you get the nice blips on the downshifts, and well, it doesn't hurt the motor nor the 8 HP transmission. And every car that we build, vintage air AC. Everything gets AC. We don't build race cars, we build really nice street cars, and in this case, really fast street cars. So this car is gonna have vintage air AC inside underneath the dash. Speaking of that dash, which isn't in here currently, it's actually sitting right there, but in here is going to be a steering column from our friends over at I Did It, gauges from Dakota Digital AC controls, and a vintage air AC box. We are stoked to have this car put together. And then we're currently thinking this car might have its interior done by our friends at Sculpts down in San Marcos, who did the interior in the brown car. I think it's gonna look gorgeous. This car is gonna be awesome. I'm so stoked for this car to get started on this one and to start to put wheels on it, get it on the ground, get that 392 fired up. Now this car is not going to be a wide body car, which isn't abnormal for us, but the last green Challenger we did was a wide body car. The green wide bodied Hellcat Challenger is the one that I'm referring to. That is a wide body car. This is not going to be that. We are tubbing this car, which means wheel tubs in there, as you can see, are gonna get widened out so that we can accommodate all the room provided by this gorgeous Art Morrison piece there. So instead of going out with the body, like we did on this car, as you can see back there. So instead of going out, we're going in. Should still be able to fit a reasonable amount of tire in there, and by reasonable, I mean a 20 by 12 with a 345/30 20 around it. So that should be plenty of tire for this car. Even though it'll make 1,200 horsepower, still might have problems hooking up, but still should be plenty of tire in this car. Should be tucked, should look fantastic. I mean, just look at that. Come on, Dodge Challengers don't sit like that. This car is going to be rad. We are stoked for that. We are super excited for this one. Thank you to Jason and his family for bringing this car down here last week. Thank you for entrusting us with this fantastic car. We are excited to get started on it, excited to keep y'all updated on it. We think this one's going to be super fun, super cool. We haven't built a Hemi with this much power before. We haven't built a Hemi with this much power and an 8-speed behind it before. We haven't messed with our Morrison stuff. There's a lot of news for us in this car, so we're super excited to play with it. We always like to evolve our builds. We like to make everyone nicer than the last, so this is definitely, hopefully, a step up for us and a step forward. So super cool car, absolutely gorgeous car here. Super excited for this one. Can't wait to get started on it. We will try to keep y'all updated on it. Keep posts going on Instagram. If you don't follow us on Instagram, go follow us at Muscle Rod Shop on Instagram. As of course, do all the YouTube things. Subscribe, like the video, share the video, comment down below what you think of this car. Do you think putting the 8-speed in place of the 6-speed is a good idea? Would you keep the cage? Would you run it this low? If it wasn't green, what color would you paint it? Things like that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you later.